Alright guys, it's been a hot minute since I've done a review, but I just completed Sherlock Holmes The Awakened yesterday, and I thought I'd do a review of it. This is actually a remake of the game from 2007. Now, I never played that one, so I won't really have anything to say to compare the two games, really. But I believe a lot of the script has been rewritten from what I've heard, and a lot of little changes here and there as well to improve the game and add some more dialogue to the script and stuff like that. But basically, this game will take you on a journey to 5 different countries, ranging from Scotland to Switzerland, but it will also take you on a journey through Sherlock Holmes's mental state, and that's the best part of this game. I feel like you go through his mental problems a lot in this game, and we're going to get into that, but we're going to first get into the 7 Ps. We're going to go through the playing, the plot, the people, the places, the picture, the fun, aka the sound, and we're going to go through the pop as well, which is the last P. That only applies to certain games, but yeah, those are the 7 Ps that we're going to use to do this review. Shout out to my boy Scott from back in the day, Scott Mac Games, for providing that baseline for these reviews. But we're going to jump in and we're going to start with the gameplay. The bread and butter of every game is the gameplay, of course. So the gameplay of Sherlock Holmes is much the same as the recent iterations of the franchise. So if you've played them, you'll be very familiar with what you have to do here. You have to find clues, you have to deduct what happened, and you have to piece everything together. There's not really too much more to it than that, but I think they have a good thing going, so no need to change it really too much in regards to the gameplay. Now, sometimes certain things can be really difficult to find, but other than that, I completed the game without too many issues on what to do. It can take you definitely some time to figure it out, and it gets the brain working as well, but once you know what the symbols mean on each piece of evidence, it's not impossible, which I can appreciate. Now, there is one instance in the game where I got completely stuck, flat out stuck, looking for a safe for a code, but the answer was actually just hidden in plain sight. It's just something that you actually have to interact with to find the code, and it wasn't really actually that difficult. It was just something that I really had trouble finding for some reason. I don't know. I swear I checked absolutely everywhere in that house and around that mansion, and I just couldn't find anything. But in the end, it was actually somewhere pretty simple. It was just like around the corner almost, that I just never thought to look there. So yeah, when you're stuck, honestly, it can be something pretty simple that you end up and you're like to yourself, oh, I'm pretty stupid, why did I not think of that sooner, you know? So overall, yeah, there's a good challenge in this game, but it's not like overly difficult, and you're not like stuck multiple times throughout the game having to look up stuff. And now I did get this before embargo, so there's no like walkthroughs or anything like that, so I had to do it all myself, and I feel like for the majority, that's what you should do. There's no need really for a walkthrough in most places here. Now, if you're stuck finding something, or you just can't find where it is, fair enough, I don't mind if you look it up. Like, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not the goddamn walkthrough police, but you can check out my videos to find out what to do as well. I'm doing a full walkthrough of this game. But now, that's pretty much all that there is to the playing. Maybe it would be cool if there was some more innovation with the gameplay, but I think that generally it's pretty okay. Next up, we're going to discuss the plot, aka the story of Sherlock Holmes. So the plot of Sherlock Holmes The Awakened in this game was actually pretty strong, I feel like. It focuses on Sherlock Holmes' struggles and his relationship with Watson, while it almost feels like everything else is taking a backseat throughout the journey. Now, each location you go to, you're trying to figure out something more about this cult and the people involved in it, and each location that you go to, Sherlock is struggling to keep it together more and more as well, as he almost gets like wrapped up in what is happening within this cult and to these people. His descent into madness whilst Watson tries to keep his head above ground is very interesting indeed, and I'm talking about Watson keeping Sherlock's head above ground, not his own. Yeah, Watson is also struggling with stuff though. He's struggling with like a sense of purpose that Sherlock helps him kind of see sense about, so I think that they balance off each other quite well, it feels like anyway, and obviously Watson and Sherlock's relationship is a key part of these games. Overall, I feel like the Black Edelweiss mission was definitely the best of the lot. Trying to maneuver your way around the prison without being spotted, while also teaming up with prisoners to come up with ideas to find what you need to find, was really cool. And there was a lot of moments in this game that almost played like a horror game, like rowing down the river in the dark of the bayou was terrifying. Dealing with the cult people towards the end of the game was unsettling to say the least, especially in the very last location where you almost have to like shimmy your way through a bunch of weird culty people. It is just like, it was so weird and unsettling. Now, that was one part of the game that I actually was getting very frustrated with gameplay wise, which I forgot to mention, was the last mission. When you're shimmying through those cult people, like it gives you like a button prompt every like 2 seconds. It's like way too frequent, and that's like the one part of the game where I really actually got frustrated with the gameplay, because I went the wrong way multiple times and I had to go back through them, and I was tapping X again, tapping square, tapping circle, and it's like it was so slow. It's not like where it's these quick little QTs where you just tap it and then it goes through. Like, it was so slow and annoying in that part. It was like grudgy. But other than that, I thought that the dealing with those people was definitely cool and weird and fun. And the whole last mission was like, honestly, it was a trip, man. It was really strange and weird and fun. But that kind of leads us into the people, aka the characters. So this swapping of locations, like, it has its strengths and weaknesses, because I feel like I really enjoyed the aspects of the story, like I mentioned, with Sherlock and Watson. But the side characters in this game were definitely quite forgettable, because you only get to have short run-ins with a lot of the characters throughout the different locations you go to, but nothing really long enough to leave a lasting imprint or memory, I feel like. Even Mycroft just has a really brief appearance with a very short side quest that leaves a little bit of kind of wanting more, but that does seem like it kind of is going to lead to something else, and maybe in a future iteration of the game or something like that. I would say like Davy and Lucy would probably be the two strongest side characters. Other than that, like, Davy was the mute kid. Now, I'm sure people that have played the original Sherlock Holmes The Awakened in 2007 will remember this kid, or remember definitely parts of the story that I'm mentioning. But I think there's a lot of context and different stuff added in there as well. Davy helped us out with our quest, and then Lucy kind of was the head of this Nymph of Louisiana boat, and she had like a little secret romance going on that I thought was really cool. I'm not going to spoil too much. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you're planning on playing the game. But yeah, overall, I think the side characters were pretty forgettable, but some that definitely you'll enjoy your run-ins with, I feel like. Now, as we start to wind down this review, we're going to talk about the places. And in Sherlock Holmes, as I mentioned earlier, you go to 5 different countries and locations, and this is actually definitely one of the strengths of the game. I feel like it makes the game feel like a proper adventure, and there's a lot of mission variety. You'll visit the likes of the Edelweiss estate in the mountains of Switzerland, which I mentioned, and I 100% feel like this was inspired by The Shining. By the way, I actually recently watched The Shining this year, and I could tell right off the bat that felt inspired by The Shining. You just get that vibe the minute that you get there, really. Apart from the fact that it's obviously in Europe. But you head to the bayou as well in Louisiana to battle some alligators. You head to Scotland for the last mission with these little different lighthouses and stuff like that. And overall, I feel like the locations were really unique and well done, and I feel like they actually add to the story as well. Each location you go to adds to the story, and that was something that I really appreciated within this game. Definitely one of the stronger parts of the game was the mission variety and the locations and the sense of adventure of the whole thing, really. The picture and performance I don't really have too much to say about. The graphics and performance are fine. Definitely nothing to write home about, but better than the last couple of games they did, I will say that much. The animations of the characters still aren't great, but it's a smaller studio, so I'm not really going to complain too much about it. Hopefully that they can get onto a better engine at some point and give us like proper next generation graphics and performance. But performance wise, definitely it was much improved to Sherlock Holmes games I've played in the past, because I remember noticing considerable frame drops and stuff like that, and I never really had that in my experience with this game, which is good. The music, which is the fun that we're going to talk about, the sounds of the music in this game, that was pretty good. Specifically like in eerie situations, I feel like they added to that really well. Definitely a few instances where the sound was a little off, because like even in the last mission they have like this specific scene where you're talking to the main villain guy, and there's guys like every couple of seconds they'll have someone screaming in the background as they jump off of this platform, and it's the same female scream every single time. Like, they didn't put any variety into it. It's just the same female every single time. So that was a little silly, but that's a nitpick. Obviously, it's nothing too extreme. But yeah, music I felt like was pretty good. Pop, I don't really think that this game really even has a pop factor to it. It doesn't have like a wow factor to it. It doesn't have a pop. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad game. I thought that this was a really solid game. I definitely recommend it if you enjoyed the previous Sherlock Holmes games. Maybe even if you didn't, give this one a shot and see what you think. But it's definitely that same style. So if you didn't enjoy the gameplay of the last Sherlock Holmes games, you're not going to suddenly enjoy it in this one, because it's pretty much the same kind of thing, the same deductions, the same gameplay. And the story I feel like is just a little bit stronger. stronger in this one. I did enjoy the story in this one, and you definitely get some throwbacks and references back to Cordona in this remake, which I think is cool because it's a remake of a game from 2007 when those games didn't even happen, but it's set after those, so it's really cool that you kind of get some throwbacks to that about Sherlock's time in Cordona and the struggles that he had there as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. As I said, I would recommend checking this out if you enjoyed the previous Sherlock games. It's definitely worth the playthrough, and let me know what you think if you've already played it yourself. Thanks for the support, really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like. It's the best way to let me know that you do enjoy the gameplay, and I'll see you in the next one real soon. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.